I'm going to be trying to record, especially on days like today when we have like what's on the test, so that if you're home and you had missed the day before the test, you're expected the next day when you come in to probably take that test. So our test is either Tuesday 9:15 for you guys in group 1, and group 2 is Friday. So that is going to be 9, 15, 18, 15, 17. Friday. So we got Friday and we got Wednesday. So what is this add, subtract, multiply? You need to know when something is undefined. So that's going to be, you're going to be asked, when is it undefined? And remember, undefined for add, subtract is different than undefined for multiplying, right? So you need to be able to tell me if it's undefined for addition, subtraction. That's when the matrices are not exactly the same size. But in multiplication, when you're telling me it's undefined, that's when you have to look at the middle two numbers. So making sure you can tell me when it's undefined and explain that. Okay, so you're going to be asked to explain that. There's going to be one question that's like a level 4 question. It's optional. You don't have to do that one when you are taking a look at it. So looking at the unit analysis problems, there's going to be 4 of those. They are 24 points. So this is when, like yesterday when I was walking around and I was kind of checking your work, and I'd say, oh, I see you multiplied a bunch of numbers and divided, but you didn't have any labels with anything. So those 4 problems, some are 4 and 5 point problems, there's 1. So they're anywhere from 5 to 8 points a problem when I'm thinking of what those look like. Usually 2 of the points is for the answer and label. And then the other points is for your setup and canceling the units, okay? So all the other points in this one are for the setup. Did you set it up correctly? Did you cancel the units correctly? Did you have feet in the numerator and then feet in the denominator, and hours in a denominator and then in the, so that I can see those canceling, and we'll look at those. And it says I can show and explain work so others can understand. And that's kind of like in all of the problems that we are looking at. So, looking at that, we started with how many miles, and we knew miles per day, and we need to go dollars per week. So we started there. So if I am looking at that one, the next step as I take a look at that one, what would you say as I look at that one slowly, what would you say to do next? Miles today, we're trying to get dollars per week. So we want to try and decide which of these are going to be important. How many days a week are we driving? 5. So we want to use that conversion. 5 days is 1 week, right? So now, where do I want to put the word day? Numerator or denominator? Numerator. I'm going to have day and I have week. And I'm going to have 5 days per 1 week. So right now I can see your conversion is in miles per week. Okay? Pearl, what are you going to look at next that we have to write down? We don't want miles per week. We want to know dollars per week, right?
So we do the 34 times the 5 and then divide by 1. So we don't have to.
Well, we got to get one more thing in here, right? We got to have something else. What of these conversions up in here, what other ones do we have to use? Yeah. We have to use the gas mileage, and that means that 21, I could say miles is equal to what? 1 gallon. And which other one do we have to use?
Gas cost.
The gas cost, right? Because we're trying to figure out how much money as we are looking at this one, right? So We've started with our 34 miles in a day, 5 days a week. I now need to go to, and I have the word miles and I have week. Well, it doesn't make sense to go dollars per gallon first, right? Because we don't have either of those labels. But we have the label miles. So, if I was going to write it, Jordan, what would I want to have if I use the gas mileage?
The gallons over the miles.
Gallons, nice, over miles. So I had, if we are looking at it, 21 miles per gallon. Does that make sense, Carol? Okay. So we are now looking at the next one. Claire, what am I going to do next? Miles cancels.
$1.26 over 1 gallon.
Yeah, we want our dollars on top, so $1.26 for 1 gallon. My gallons cancel. So when I go to put this in my calculator, I'm going to take 34 times 5 times $1.26, and then I'm going to divide by my denominator, which was 21. And my answer should be in dollars, and I have the week. Which in this case came out to be, how much are we spending commuting each week? $10 and what, 60 cents per week? Does that sound right? $10.20?
Yeah.
$10.20. I was looking at two different answers and I looked at the 6 down below the 20 and yes. All right, so 5 days a week, 34 miles in 1 day. And Grace, what else then?
45 miles per hour.
Okay, 45 miles per hour. Tell me how I want to put that in my fraction.
1 over 45.
So 1, and in this case, since we're going to have 1 hour, is to 45 miles. And so then I can look at my units and I can go, oh, days cancel and miles cancel. And I'm going to be taking 5 times 34. And then I'm going to divide that by 45, which came out to equal about what? So, see what you have. So 3.7, 3.8, 3.78 hours per week for commuting, something like that. What if you rounded it to 3.8 hours per week? I'd take that. Could after the 3.8 you say, you know what? It's almost 4 hours a week, right? That we are on the road commuting. Yes, I would take that, but make sure that if you get the decimal that you show me at least what that decimal is before you round it to a whole number, okay? All right, let's look at 4B. So we talked about what's on the test. Let's look at 4B, page 54. And it says, determine whether the product is defined or undefined. If it is defined, give the dimensions of the matrix product. If it is undefined, explain why not. So, what I want you to do below each of your matrices is tell me the sizes of them. Right? This is what our answer one's going to look like. Equals our answer. And I want you to start with that. We said it was defined because these two are the same. What would our answer matrix be? Really? What would our answer matrix be?
2 by 4.
Would be a 2 by 4. Do we have to multiply this one at all? No. On the test, similarly, I'm going to give you a couple, like at least one question and say, you know, is it defined or not defined? Tell me why. Okay? With multiplication, you're always looking for that middle one, right? To be defined or undefined. If you would please right now turn and look at page 55. This is where you practice a bunch more matrices. adding, subtracting, and doing some multiply. And notice it says in our directions, if you cannot do that and doing the multiplication, addition, or subtraction, write undefined and make sure you explain why. So anytime you say undefined on the test also, you want to tell me why. So, as we are looking at these, what am I going to need for your work on the test? Well, I'm really going to be looking for the answer, but my hint would be yes, you should probably show some work. So as you look at this page, are there any on this page that you would like to take a look at, that you have questions on, that you're not sure? And you just write down, oh, this is 0 plus negative 9 times, so that's a 4. And you just tell me negative 36 here. Would that be okay? Did I do that right away? Yes. And would I be okay that you don't write down 0 times negative 2, because in your head you went, oh, that's 0. And back here I'm taking negative 9 times negative 4. So if I'm looking at that one, I should have a positive 36, right? And you could just put that in your head. This is my answer, my 2 by 2 matrix. All right, so let's go to that bottom one as we are looking. Sarah, what are you going to have as we are starting out that bottom one? 9 times negative 1. And again, could you have just thought in your head and put down negative 9? Yep. Plus? Negative 3 times 4. So I have negative 9 plus negative 12, which gives us how much? Negative 21. Okay. So negative 21 here, negative 36, 36. Okay. So as we are continuing with that, Silly, what are you going to have next in that last one?
9 times negative 2 plus negative 3 times negative 1.
So again, you go negative 18, right, plus 12. Negative 18 plus 12, if I am looking at that, gives us positive 6. You are taking 1/3 of each of these. What does 1/3 mean, Jacob? I'm doing what? Dividing each number by?
My name's Jordan.
Or Jordan. I don't know why I keep calling you Jacob. I'm so sorry.
1/3 times.
What am I really doing when I take 1/3 times each of those numbers that are in the matrix? Just dividing it by 3, right? Don't make it harder than you have to. That fraction isn't meant to confuse you. So that when I look at this answer matrix, what's my first one going to be? Negative 36 divided by 3 gives me 12. And it's going to be negative 12. And then behind it, we're going to have a positive 12, right? I'm taking 21, negative 21, I'm dividing it by 3, which gives me negative 7 and 2. So that's the answer one I'm going to be looking for your test, right? So this was doing the work for the multiplication, then you took it times the third. You don't take the third first, you do